Hi guys, and welcome to an update of my nano tank. Now in today's video I'm going to show you how I do my water change, as well as go through a couple of little updates about the tank. So as you can probably see from the video you're watching now, everything's starting to grow in nicely. And if we take you a little bit closer, you'll see everything seems to be growing quite well. This moss is taking off, but one thing you will notice is, I got hair algae. Lots and lots of hair algae. There's one of the snails I added in the previous video, getting bigger. So what I'm going to do today, because of the hair algae, is not panic, and I'm going to start and I'm going to do my first water change on this tank since I've added the plants. Now, one thing to remember when you have algae is not to go crazy, not to think and start changing your lights and doing water changes and making massive changes to the tank. Just stay calm, remove as much algae as you can do by hand. What I have done, I have turned the lights down slightly, so the cycle I've reduced by an hour a day, half an hour a day I've reduced it by. I'll leave that for a couple of weeks. I'll do my water change and I'll wait a couple of weeks and I'll see what happens. Now on this tank, to do my water changes, I'll show you what I use. Nice and easy. I use a piece of pipe. Now at the minute, because I don't have any fish or shrimp or anything in there, any size pipe will do. Okay, and then what I like to do is I have an old bottle here. Okay, now I fill this up with water. You can do it 24 hours before, but I like to leave it a little bit longer. So let's say 24 hours, and you leave it with the lid off for 24 hours. And what that allows is it allows the water to A, get to room temperature, and B, it lets your water evaporate the, I've lost my words here, chlorine, that's the word I'm looking for. It lets the chlorine evaporate out of the water. So you can, I know, go to PetSmart and places like that and buy dechlorinate for your water, which takes it straight out, but you may as well just wait 24 hours and it's done. So that's it. So I'm going to do my water change now. Now one thing I do like to do when I'm doing my water changes is I like to clean out my sponge and my filtration. Now you'll notice I've come over to the sink, but I'm not going to be using tap water. Okay, this is the biggest mistake you can make, is using tap water to clean off your only part of your filtration. Tap water will immediately kill the bacteria that's housed in your sponge or your media or whatever it is that you've got in your filter. So what you should do is use the old water you removed from the tank. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take out my media from my sponges. Okay, then the bottle of water that I put my old my old tank water in, I'm just going to pour over the sponge, and I'm just going to rinse the sponge, squeeze it out. Now obviously if you've got a bucket this will be easier, but this takes me seconds. You see the gunk coming out of that? Give it a nice good squeeze. And that's it, all the bacteria then on this sponge is still alive. It's no problem for your tank. Just squeeze it all out. Quick rinse off the media. And a quick rinse of the carbon just to make sure there's no bits on there. Beautiful. And what I'll do, I'll put all this back together and I'll take you back to the tank and show you how we're getting on over there. Okay, we're back at the tank. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean the glass. Alright, I've switched all the pumps and everything off when I did the water change. Now one thing I would normally do, I'd normally do this before I do the water change, but through filming and one thing and another, I just lost track and I forgot to do it before I clean the water. Now what I use for, before I change the water, now what I use for this is I use an old sponge scraper. Now this came with an extendable rod and everything that I use on my marine tank, but the only bit of that I use on the marine tank is the glass scraper, the metal scraper. So this doesn't get used in that tank. So what I do, I normally take the light off, but I'm gonna leave it on so you can see what's going on. I give it a dunk in the water, and then I'll just run it along the grass or acrylic or whatever it is you've got. Give it all a nice mix up, good clean. It's not too bad along the middle and the bottom, it's mainly at the top where you get the scum build up, on this tank anyway. But we'll make sure we get it all the way down to the bottom. Okay, then onto this piece. Like I say, normally I remove the light, but if I do that this time, you guys don't see what's going on. See how it's all stirred up now? It's not a problem, my filter will remove all of this once I've finished. All the way along that back piece. There we go, and then I'll take that and I'll go and dry that off. Okay, so there we go, water change is complete. Now, as you can see from the video you're looking at, it stirred up a lot of stuff during that water change. That's all the bits floating about. That's not a problem, that's fantastic. All that means is all that stuff, all that, normally in a fish tank it would be uneaten food and fish poo. Now obviously I don't have fish in this tank at the minute, so what that is, it's dead leaves, bits of wood, whatever it might be that's fallen to the bottom of the tank. It's got stuck either through lack of flow or a dead spot in your tank, and as you've done your water change and you've cleaned your glass and you've stirred it all about, what happens is you kick all that up, and then the filter will then take that in, and on your next water change or the next time you clean your filter out, you'll remove all of that. So the cloudiness and the bits in the water, give it 24 hours and it'll be perfectly clear again. So it just shows that took me less than 10 minutes. It does not take a long time. One thing I have done, I've moved the return nozzle for my pump down slightly. Now the reason I had it pointed so far up was because I was trying to see how we can create the least amount of flow within the tank. That's for what I was thinking was for a beta fish or better fish or however you want to call it. And I agree, if that's the route I go down, then it will work. But for now I've aimed it back down just so it stirs everything on the bottom up, gives it a good nice proper clean. Now if you've got any questions about the tank, any questions about how I do my water changes, any questions about how to look after your fish maybe you've got an issue or a problem that you need my help with, feel free to ask in the comment section below. Alright, there's no such thing as a silly question, and I'll try my best to help. Now I'm by no means an expert, as I've said in my previous videos. I do have a reef tank. I've had my reef tank for about a year now, and that's all going very well. Tank wise, I've been in the tank hobby for maybe 7 years, 7 or 8 years, but this is my first planted tank ever. Now when I originally bought this tank, I did buy it with a miniature CO2 kit. I'll see if I've got it here. Yeah, here it is. So it came with this little canister that hooks onto the side of the aquarium, and then a big CO2 diffuser that sticks on the side. But the size of that compared to the size of the tank, I thought it looked absolutely horrible. So I was thinking to get a smaller one, and then I read some reviews that were saying if you start using this stuff, this CO2 in your reef tanks, and then you run out for whatever reason, because there's only 20 grams of CO2 in this canister, so I'm not sure how long that will last. Probably a couple of weeks in a tank this size. It's not going to go quickly, but obviously when you first set it up, you've got to get everything matching, your bubble count's got to be right, so I didn't want to rush into it. And then, like I say, I read online that once you start with your CO2, if for whatever reason you stop, apparently this is, I don't know how true this is because I haven't done this myself, but apparently that's when you start having a lot of problems with your tank, well, with the growth of your plant, sorry. So the hair algae you've seen before, let's just have a look, is now no longer present. or very little of it present. You can still see a light covering just up here. There's a light covering of hair algae still on the Christmas tree moss. So I've got two types of moss in there. I've got my Christmas tree moss that I have growing on this piece of bogwood or driftwood, and then I have a Java moss just here that came on a mesh plate. Originally I was going to stand it up behind there and grow it sort of upwards, and I put it there for the time being, and the stuff's just absolutely taken off. It looks brilliant. Snails, as I said before, they're all still in there doing very well. There's another one just there. They've doubled in size since they've been in there, so they're doing very well. And I'm hoping once they get big enough, I'll start to have some babies to help take care of all this algae. Yeah, so that's it for me today. So any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. And if you want to see the progress of this nano tank, please hit the subscribe button. And if you're interested in reef tanks, check out my other videos where I show you my low cost reef setup. Thank you very much, guys. Bye.